Okay, hello everyone. Welcome back to the Unfuck Yourself podcast. Once again, we are here live per usual with the Unfuck Yourself membership queens. They get to be in here, they get to hear this unfiltered, which a lot tends to come out of my unfiltered mouth that we have to cut out that can't go public. So they get to hear names, they get to hear very specific stories, they get to hear very specific things that we can't necessarily put super public. And they also get a 45-minute Q&A after where they are getting at least 5 or 6 tools per Q&A. So that's like 3 times a month. So that's a lot of tools that they are getting. You can join us, drop out at any time. So if you're feeling FOMO, you can come in and join us at any point. Great. So today we are diving into another foundation of some emotional mastery stuff. So for me, there's a lot of things that go hand in hand with emotional mastery. It is healing your trauma, which we've talked about in a podcast episode. It is obviously getting the tools for, emotional mastery to not get too high or too low about things like we've talked about. It is gaining tools around not getting triggered and gaining tools around monitoring and understanding your emotions and using them to benefit you versus detriment you. It's obviously mastering your emotions. We know that, but there's some other things that involve emotional mastery to me, and that is learning how to communicate from a place of emotionally neutral and being able to get what you want out of the conversation, right? Which inevitably is also a form of self-love, which is also a form of putting yourself first. If you can go into a conversation with a goal of what you want to get out of it, whether you want the person to respond back to you calmly, or whether you want to tie that person up in a mental pretzel so they cannot gaslight you any longer, whatever it is your goal is, you can learn how to do from an emotionally neutral place. What happens is when you're communicating, if you are not emotionally neutral, you're fucked. You're not smart anymore because all your blood, if you're any kind of emotional, your body thinks you're automatically in fight or flight. Your body thinks you're being chased by a fucking, I don't know, cheetah or tiger. You're about to like get hit by a pickup truck, right? A massive truck, and your body thinks it has to keep you alive. Well, all your blood leaves your brain, goes to your limbs, so you can fucking run faster, and all this oxygen's pumping through your muscles and all of these things. So you no longer are thinking straight. So therefore, you can no longer communicate from a neutral place where you can actually logically, play chess with them or whatever you have to do to be able to communicate. So that's a part of emotional mastery that we will also be diving into. We have a different part to dive into today, but that's a part that's coming next week. Also, we will be diving into all these in the Unbothered 2-hour workshop. So there's that part. Then there's also a part of emotional mastery to know when you are being gaslit and manipulated, and not just what everyone already knows about, not just the typical gaslighting narcissist kind of talk that you see fucking everywhere on social media. That to me is so fucking obvious that I was like, we can't make a fucking obvious episode. We have to talk about like the nitty-gritty things of how you're being manipulated and you don't even fucking know it, right? Because the best master manipulators are not going to let you know that you're being manipulated. Like it's going to seem like they're not manipulating you at fucking all. It's kind of like, remember the episode around dark forces in the spiritual world? Kind of like that wolf in sheep's clothing. That's kind of what happens there too. So that's another kind of aspect of emotional mastery as well, is understanding that, how to respond, how to not let it emotionally like trigger you, and how to respond and communicate in a good, balanced, neutral, but also kind of like checkpoint. Checkpoint, is that chess? At the end when you win chess, what the fuck's that called? Checkpoint? Checkmate. Oh my God. Checkpoint. I'm done. Oh, thanks. I'm glad you know what I meant, Sydney. Check in a checkmate way. It's kind of like being able to tie someone who's trying to come at you. It's kind of like learning the dark side of neurolinguistic programming and how social media uses it, how the media uses it, how Hollywood uses it. It's learning about the dark side of that. And then it's you learning about the dark side so you know what's happening, but it's you learning about how to use it for light so that you can respond back. So it's a really cool thing that we will get to dive into. Now, those are kind of all like there's an umbrella of emotional mastery. That's kind of like all the brackets that I see underneath it. all the foundational things of all those topics will be touched upon in Unbothered. All the foundation of the foundation of those things will be touched upon in the podcast. And all of the advanced version of those things will be deep, deep dove. I don't know words. Deep dove on in the bigger program that we will probably do after the Unbothered 2 hour workshop, which we will be doing live, by the way, which I haven't done a live program in like so fucking long. Like live, I'll record the modules in front of the class, which is the most fun to me. Anyway, so we have all of these different aspects. Now, I know last week I promised in the membership, I said, okay, I cannot wait. We're going to do a podcast episode on the manipulation aspect and the dark side of that and everything like that. That is coming. I promise we are doing an episode on that. But before we do that episode, I was looking intuitively, and we need to understand what we're gonna talk about today first, and then you're gonna better understand that episode. So I'm just setting you up to have an expanded, even more expanded brain for the next episode because you guys are so elite and can handle it. So what this episode is today is we are diving into it's the foundation of the foundation of like what I know and what we can get into and what we will get into in the program and in the workshop, but it's still a very advanced thing. So we're diving into how emotional we really are that we don't even realize on a daily basis. Okay. We are diving into all about why it's important to stop people and circumstances from triggering you long term. And we are going to go into all things on emotions are not, I find there's really bad advice out there with emotions. It's either one of the polar opposites. It's either fuck emotions, don't feel them, just push them down, just act cool, whatever. Or it's the opposite and it's like, feel everything and embody everything and just act on everything and it's who you are. And I'm like, well, not really. So I'm going to explain the source perspective of when to act on your emotions, when to not, how to use them for good, how to not let them be detrimental to you. I was going to sneeze. It came out. A sneeze is the truth. I always say when you sneeze, it's like confirmation from your higher self. So we can leave that in the podcast team. It gives it character. Okay. So we are diving into all of those things that are so, so important, especially for when we're going into the next podcast about communicating. Then the next podcast after that about the dark side of NLP and how people are using it against you and you don't even fucking know it, right? So we need to be able to track and understand and know our emotions and what's going on so that we can better neutralize ourselves, so we can better then communicate, so that we can better then know what the fuck is going on. Because there are times where people think they're being manipulated when they're really not because of their emotions, right? And then there are times where people are being manipulated, but they think they're not because the people manipulating them are so good at manipulating them that they are convinced that they're not. So either way, emotions are getting in the way of both of these things. So that's why we've got to start with this foundational episode today before we go into those things. But I'm really excited about this one. You guys are so elite and so advanced that it's so fun to come in here, you guys in the membership and everyone who listens to this, because anyone who is pulled to listen to this podcast episode, their higher self is it's just a pull from their higher self to let them know that they're ready to start to master this. And why I say you're elite is because if you intuitively look in, and when I intuitively look in to the world, only 99% of people, or all 99% of people of the world, so only 1% of people, 99% of people are not emotionally mastered. There's only like 1% of the world that has a mastery over their emotions. And the greats of the world, like Marcus Aurelius and like all of these great leaders and people, you can find quotes from them, like literally Google it. You can find quotes from them saying, if you can master emotions, you can master your life. You can get anything you want, right? And it really fucking is true, because even intuition, like we think intuition's a superpower. Intuition is fucking trash shit without emotional control, because if you're anywhere above 17% emotional, your intuition sucks because your emotions have taken over, it's clouded your intuition, and now you're going to emotionally sway yourself. So of course I'm like intuition number one fucking fan, but even on top of that, I'm an emotional mastery fan even more because even if your intuition is the best of the best, you're like the Michael Jordan of intuition. If you don't have emotional control over your triggers, you are going to screw yourself over of your incredible gift of intuition. So if you're listening to this today, it's somewhere in your soul makeup, in your soul plan, in your higher self pull and plan to get you starting to master this because you wouldn't be listening to this if it wasn't for you. And that means you're going to be part of that 1% of the world, which I'm not shocked because you guys are fucking incredible and doing things way faster than I ever did. And you will do things way faster than I ever will do. So I'm really, really excited about that for you guys. So, okay. People think having, people think being emotional is having an open heart, right? But it's different. Having an open heart is the source definition of love and neutrality. Remember when we talked about that? Open heart is the source definition of love and neutrality. It is being able to see the perfection in fucking everything all at one time. See the good, the bad all at once and just unconditionally loving it just because you can see how it's perfect in that way. That is an open heart, okay? People think emotions like acting on your anger and calling somebody telling someone to go to hell and fuck themselves, people think that is emotionally expressing. Well, yes, it's emotionally expressing, but it's emotionally expressing in a way that is not going to help us, the other person, ourselves in the future, or the world at all at any time. Now, there's a time and place for that. And if you were at the Glow Retreat, you would know that we scream, we cry, we dance, whatever, but we're holding a safe container to hold ourselves to get those emotions out and not leak them and project them onto other people, right? There's a time and place to acknowledge them, let them out, shift them, move them. And then there's a time and place to when they come up, being able to neutralize them in the minute and not act on them. And that's kind of, we'll get into that with the communication piece next week, but we're going to start here this week. So emotional in the source definition is letting the emotional roller coaster. It's not letting the emotional roller coaster dictate and control your life, right? Which inevitably ends up taking you off of the highest aligned path, okay? Now, emotions are fucking incredible. I don't want at any point for anyone to think at any time I'm saying fuck emotions. Emotions are the most incredible thing. It's why our soul came back down here to earth. It's the only place that you can experience emotions, okay? Well, the law of balance, though, just as incredible as they are, they're also that amount of detrimental. It depends how we use them, right? Now, 99% of the world, when I intuitively look in, uses them in a detrimental way, right? But mastering them and learning the steps to master them, even one emotional mastery tool to put in your pocket is more than most people, that can be used in an incredibly beneficial way. Emotions are the key to manifesting. If you've been in any of my courses where we program ingredients, who here knows about ingredients that I've talked about, right? You know that the ingredients are how we emotionally connect to things, right? We plug an ingredient in, a simple one, very basic, but just to get the point across, I am valuable, right? My ingredients are way more specific, but just to get the point across, I am valuable. To prove that to ourselves, we connect emotionally. When we connect emotionally, what happens? It starts to suffocate the old neural pathways in our brain that are telling us otherwise, limiting beliefs around that. It starts to rebuild new, empowering neural pathways. Well, after about 20 times of doing something, a neural pathway is built, a new one. After about 40 times, it becomes like a solidified neural pathway. And after about 60 times, it starts to become a habit that you do, and it starts to connect and rewire to your subconscious and your fight or flight system, and it starts to rewire into your creator field. So emotions, that's great. We can use our emotions to go create what we want because as we know, all our reality is what we believe to be true. And all a belief is a repetitive thought that we have over and over and over again. So if all we have to do to change our reality is we shift our thoughts to more empowering thoughts, that then programs a belief And then it programs our creator field to then go create a new reality, a new way that people are responding to you, a new way of situations, circumstances, and events you are finding yourself in and around. So, how we shift our brain is by emotions, whether it's shifting our brain for good or for detrimental, right? How we do it for the good is we find ingredients of how we want to feel, of what we want to create. I am valuable, right? And we start to prove how we're valuable. Oh, I felt valuable. Oh, that person smiled at me when I walked in. Little micro moments, right? Oh, they held the door for me today. And proof by proof, bullet point by bullet point, as you go down, you do this in my courses. If you're in there, you know what we do. You start to prove to yourself that you're valuable and you start to emotionally connect. We emotionally connect by proving it to ourselves with a memory. It's good and it works against us too, right? If our dad cheated on our mom growing up, AKA what happened to me, right? You will have a freak out going into a wedding, AKA what also happened to me, right? So if I grew up watching my dad cheat on my mom, I've now decided that every man cheats on their wife. Like that's what my brain decided, right? And my proof is, well, my dad cheated on my mom. Like I watched it happen over and over again many times with the same person for years and years and years. So so if I'm like watching this happen and that's my only way of knowing how to emotionally connect to something, I'm now proving, oh, men cheat on women once they're married, right? Or once the woman has a baby, the man's no longer interested and then he's going to go cheat on her. And that's what then I proved to myself. So then naturally, me a few months ago was having a freak out of like, that's going to happen to me. And I started freaking out. I was like, wait, this is not true. Okay, let me start to find other couples and other stories of how the man is absolutely obsessed with the woman and loves her even more when she's pregnant and after she's pregnant and all of these things. So I start reading stories from my great grandparents. My great grandparents were so cute. My great grandfather loved my great grandmother so much, you guys. Like he wrote a book about it. Like he would give it around to everyone in the family. It's the sweetest thing ever. They lived to be like high 90s and she crossed over and then literally he was healthy as could be. About a month after her crossing over, he crossed over. Like he just loved her so much. He was like, I'm going to be with her. Anyway, so I started looking at them. I started like looking up fucking just like stories about this online. And I started using other proof to connect to train my emotions otherwise. And now they're working for me. But the problem is, most people don't do that. They just are emotionally connected to something, decide it's the story, decide it's the truth, then they let that dictate their whole life. Okay. So emotions are incredible. It's how we manifest anything, right? It's how we create is through emotions. Whether we like what we're creating or not, it's how we create, right? So we can use them to create what we desire to create, or we can use them to create what we don't desire to create in many, many ways. So without control over them, though, they'll just as easily manifest and create what you don't want. Okay. Bad decisions are made when your emotions exceed a 36% threshold. So the second your emotions are over, you know how I measure everything intuitively, like 0 to 100%, 100% being the highest. If you're over 36% emotional, 100% being the highest, the logical part of your brain will shut off, okay, in favor of the faster life-saving part of your brain or the fight or flight part clicking on, okay? And it's through emotional mastery that you can become this superhuman, like you can have this superhuman ability to make hard decisions in emotional situations. Okay. So every time there's a out of the blue kind of thing that happens in your environment or your brain interprets something as out of the blue, our fight or flight system is ready to fucking go. Our body is ready to flood our muscles with blood and oxygen so we can literally like fight and beat a bitch up if we have to. So we can like run and keep ourselves alive, right? But when the comments are funny, but when that happens, that's really happening, right? Like that's not happening in our life anymore. Like our fight or flight system's kind of outdated. We don't really need that anymore because hopefully most of the time we are not in like actual life or death situations. Your brain might think you're in life or death situations, but most of the time we're not actually in life or death situations, right? Hopefully we only need that to kick in once in our life, if that, right? So we don't actually really need it unless we're in an actual life or death thing. But what happens, for me, what would happen is the truck would go by. I'd be recording a podcast at the country house. A truck would go by and my dogs would start fucking barking and I would get so fucking pissed, right? And now my fight or flight system is just fired up, triggered, right? And already I feel like I'm like something snaps in me and I'm already now way more not thinking, way less intuitive, and now my fight or flight gets in, right? So or like when someone calls you and you don't know the number, who has a fucking freak out? They're like, who is this calling you and you don't know the number? You're like, I can't answer, right? Like that will trigger your fight or flight system. There's a lot of things that go on that you actually don't need your fight or flight system triggered for, but it will trigger that. And it's why it's quite outdated. But even that, you don't think anything of it because you're like, oh, I'll come back down. That affects your emotions for way longer than you think. Okay. Just that little like phone call, oh my God, I don't want to answer, like I'm freaked out. You're not just going elated and then coming back down. Depending on your mastery around yourself, a little situation like that could affect someone for 3 weeks later, but they don't know they're being affected from it. They're just more on edge for literally 3 weeks to come, right? Depending on like how self-awareness doesn't matter, depending on how much you're applying tools, right? You can be self-aware, but not applying tools, right? So even social media, right? You are looking at a post that you made that you're so fucking proud of and you're like, I fucking love this video. And then you go scrolling through the comments because you're a little nosy to see what people are saying. And someone writes, this is the dumbest fucking shit I've ever heard. Okay. That will trigger a self-image wound, right? Your fight or flight system will immediately go off and it will be like, I need to flood your body with oxygen and blood in your muscles to literally save your life right now. Except you don't need your life saved there. Even if that feels like you're dying, you're not. So what happens is that will trigger a wound of not being good enough, maybe. Maybe that makes you feel inadequate, right? Well, now from the time you felt inadequate for the first time, remember the stone throw that we talked about with the trauma? From the time you felt, that was in like 2 podcast episodes ago. If you haven't listened to that, go listen to it. By the time you felt inadequate the first time in your life when you were 4 years old and your dad, oh, story for me. Your dad came into your dance studio and you were in acrobat class and everyone else could do a back walkover. And then you couldn't do a back walkover. And then I came out of dance class and he was like, why can everyone else do a back walkover, but you can't do a back walkover? And I went home crying to my mom and I was like, Mom, Dad told me I'm bad at gymnastics. And then you know what I did? I got really fucking good at it. So it was great. But anyway, he was like, that made me feel that was the first time, if I trace back when I felt inadequate, that was the first time I can trace back to. I was very young and I got compared to the rest of the girls in my class, never compared myself before until then. And then that domino to spiral, the ripples of just compare, inadequate, not good enough, right? So now if I don't heal this, what happens when you get a mean comment on TikTok? Well, you're going to get triggered to when you were 4 years old. You might not remember the memory, but that same feeling's going to come up of, I'm not good enough. This person made the video better. This person could say it better. Well, now what happens? Now the business you're building stops getting built because now you're too afraid to show up online. Well, now your business can't get built and you're off your soul pull because you're not doing what you want to be doing because you're afraid of people saying you're dumb or not good enough. Well, now you go get a job you don't like. Well, now you're so fucking angry at the job you don't like that you start to manifest cancer in your body because you're so fucking angry at feeling inadequate that you haven't healed. You're so fucking angry at this job you don't like. Well, now cancer starts to form. And now it's going to be breast cancer because you feel like you're angry that you can't create the way you want to. That will create breast cancer in the long future, right? If you feel that way for years upon years, never do anything, not one single thing about it. Don't worry if you feel that way for like 10 minutes, you're fine. Nothing's going to happen. Don't freak out. This has to be an emotion that's held on to for a very long time to create something like cancer. But anyway, now you're triggered for, let's say it's 20 years later, right? Well, now you never let yourself post on social media more often and go to your business because that emotional reaction of feeling inadequate, that could have been neutralized. It could have been balanced. It could have been shifted, right? That you let take over because you got emotional. People forget that this is emotional too, right? Emotional isn't just like raging, crying, screaming. This stuff's the emotional stuff that it hides in plain sight and gets us every single fucking day. And if you say it doesn't, it does because there's no way it doesn't unless you are Jesus Christ himself walking on this earth, right? And even him, he's a human in a body on earth, so he will also experience emotions too. He probably can just neutralize them in like one fucking second. But even if you want to say it doesn't, that's a telling sign that it gets you probably more than people who are admitting to getting triggered. If anyone wants to be like, oh no, that doesn't happen to me, it's a guarantee that that is 100% happening to you, more so than the person who's admitting to getting triggered. I see some people going, fuck. so so, and that's your emotions too, going like, that's not me. Like, if you're getting a little bit slightly triggered, then that is your emotions also coming up to try and the ego's trying to protect yourself and not lose its job, right? So, back to my story. So now you never post on social media again because you felt inadequate because you never healed feeling inadequate when you were 5. And now you just keep creating feeling inadequate, but you think it's the world making you feel like that, not your creator field doing that to the world, right? So you just think I'm fucking inadequate. So then you get really fucking angry. So then you're really fucking angry for 20 years and you're angry because you feel like you can't create what you want to create. Well, that's going to manifest into breast cancer. So now 20 years down the road, now you have fucking breast cancer because of no one taught you how to like handle or identify or know or understand your emotions or heal them or shift them or neutralize them or whatever. So that's why they're so important. Not only how many things did you just lose in that scenario? You lost a fuck ton of money for being on your soul pole. You lost a thriving, fulfilling career in your soul pole. You lost being able to be fulfilled, creating and expressing yourself. You lost your joy in fucking life. You also lost your physical health. I mean, there's so many things at stake here that you're going to start to fucking lose when we don't understand what's going on with our emotions and we don't identify them right away, right? Now, emotions are good. It's not about not having them. Okay. I have them every fucking day. I had them this morning. I get in my fucking car this morning. I look at the GPS. Usually it's a 50-minute drive, 50 from country house to Dallas apartment office. Today, an hour and 32 minutes. I said fucking great because I have a facial to get to and that's supposed to be relaxing. And now I'm going to be fucking late. Great. Amazing. So I get in the car and I'm already fucking just pissed off. You know what I mean? I'm just like, fuck, it's raining. People, they can't drive in the fucking rain in Dallas. The roads are wet. The GPS, who lives in Dallas? The GPS does not align with the exit signs. Who lives here? Anybody in here? It's the worst. The GPS like doesn't align. It tells you get off one way, the exit's like the other way. It makes no sense. Anyway, I keep doing that this morning too. So, Ohio. Yeah, does that happen there? It's not fun. So, I'm like not feeling it. But then I start going, I'm like, okay, I know if I stay in this, I'm gonna start to create some shit I don't want. I'm not getting mad at myself for being pissed off. I'm going, oh, this is showing me something. This is because, and then I start going, okay, how do I actually feel everything's being right now? I'm like, well, I can't get to where I want to get when I want to get there. Okay, great. Let me go underneath that. Okay, I'm not, and it's a whole process of going underneath that. But what I got to the root cause was I'm not putting myself first in many situations, in many areas of life. Okay. So I start going, oh, this is great. Me getting pissed off today was great because it just showed me where I'm not putting myself first. Now I can put myself first. Now I'm happy I got pissed off. What people will do and what is the biggest fucking mistake and that the spiritual matrix thing that I fucking hate is people will go, well, I'm pissed off because I'm driving. And then they'll go, oh, I'm spiritual, but at least I have a car. But at least I have two hands to drive. But at least I can enjoy a podcast on this hour and a half drive. That, I don't know about you, but that to me does not help. Like I want to punch people in the face when they say that because emotional mastery, I want to punch people in the face. But because what happens is you're not getting to the root cause. Until I get to the root cause of my emotion, I'm not going to be fucking happy. I'm only going to get happy when I get to the root cause of the emotion. And I'm like, oh my God, I'm so glad I got pissed off. And thank God for this traffic because now I'm seeing that I'm not putting myself first. The traffic let me know that. Thank you. I'm going to put myself first. I'm going to feel so much better. I'm going to feel so much more energized. I'm already a way better person right now than I was 2 hours ago earlier, right? So, best compliment ever. Thank you for that stand-up comedy. Thanks for thinking I'm funny. Okay, so do you see what I'm saying? Like, if you're just doing the spiritual matrix thing, you're not getting to the root cause. If you're not getting to the root cause, you're putting a temporary band-aid over the situation until you're in traffic the next time, until that reflection of you not putting yourself gets bigger, until you're with your boyfriend at a restaurant and he keeps watching every other girl walk by and flirting with them and talking to them and then ignoring your texts and answering everyone else's texts until that's in your face now, right? So that spiritual matrix thing of going, well, at least you're it's trying to neutralize the situation when you shouldn't be neutralizing the situation. You should be neutralizing the root cause of why you got yourself in that situation in the first place, right? So I am now grateful and neutral about the traffic because I got to the root. If I was just going, well, at least I have a car to drive, at least I have a Dallas apartment to drive to. Yes, those things are true, but you're still going to feel pissed because you're not hitting the root cause. And that pissed off emotion is helping you. It's coming up to show you the root cause so that you can look at the root cause, so you can shift it, so you can get more in life. If I'm not putting myself first, people aren't going to put me first in relationship, in career, in finances, right? And if I want that to happen, I'm gonna have to put myself first and then I'm gonna get a better life because of that. So that pissed off emotion, it's good. It's not bad. I don't want you to think like we shouldn't have emotions. It's what we do with the emotions that is good or bad that matters, right? What we don't want to do is a few things. One, stay fucking pissed off, blame everyone else. Woe was me. I'm a victim. Fuck everyone. I'm going to be rude to my facial person now. I'm going to go half-ass with you guys today because I'm pissed about traffic. I'm going to be rude to to Justin. I'm going to be a bitch to this person, right? That's what we don't want to do. The other thing we don't want to do is spiritual matrix bypass it and go, well, at least I have a car and at least I had money for gas and blah, blah, blah. Again, you're putting a temporary band-aid on something. It will fall off in 2 fucking hours, right? Maybe it'll make you feel better in the moment. And you can get to a grateful point of that because yes, of course, we can practice being grateful for those things and we can do that, but maybe not that time, right? That in that moment, what we want to do is get to the root. When we get to the root, we're going, thank God for this traffic because it showed me I was so unaware because I was so busy. This is true. I was so busy. I was so unaware how I wasn't putting myself first. And this showed me that so that I can avoid future bigger reflections, so that I can avoid having to have like a financial or business or relationship reflection. Fucking thank you. Thank God for this traffic. Now I'm actually neutral and I'm actually happy about it. Right. And so that's what we want to do with our emotions. That's how we want to approach them. It's acknowledging them, being, it's great that I'm pissed. Like, get it out. Like, fuck off, everyone. Like, fuck you, you cunt bitch, to yourself in your car, in your own contained center. Don't say it to anybody, right? Get it out. And then just kind of watching yourself in third person from the source lens going, okay, this is interesting. Like, we're not going to get mad at ourselves for being pissed because this is helping us get to a higher alignment of ourself that we're not seeing right now, that we're missing, right? So we're going to be grateful for it, but we're not going to identify with it. We're not going to like just live in it the whole day. That's when we fuck ourselves. The emotions are great. Those emotions, right? The anger, the sadness, the jealousy, the whatever, they're great because they're just showing us what we're missing to connect to that next level of our highest potential and our highest self. What happens is when we don't connect the dots, we don't get to the root cause and we just live in that emotion, that's where it's going to start to fuck us. So going back to that social media example, what we could do instead, what the emotional master would do is go, an emotional master, by the way, is not about someone who never has emotions. It's about someone who, when they get them, they know exactly what to do with them, exactly what they're teaching them, and how to not respond from them, right? So the emotional master would go, oh, this is making me feel a little inadequate. Like, I feel like I want to fucking punch this bitch in the face who just said this. Okay, why do I want to punch this bitch in the face who just said this? Okay, because I feel inadequate. That's what's underneath it, right? I feel inadequate. Okay, interesting. Well, when's the last time I can remember or when's the first time I can remember feeling inadequate? Oh, when I came out of my dance studio and my dad said that thing to me about all the other girls being able to do a back walkover. Okay, so basically I feel inadequate because I feel like this person's saying I'm not good enough, I'm dumb, whatever. Okay, knowing the laws of the universe, are they actually thinking that about me? Or is my creator field creating that? Do they think that about them? Which they do, law of projections, right? Whatever people say to us is how they feel about themselves. So they think they're dumb. And then I feel inadequate. And that's the script that's writing in my creator field. So now the person who thinks they're dumb and my creator field are a perfect match for her to project on me, right? So then I'm going, okay, she doesn't actually think I'm dumb. She thinks she's dumb, but let's bring it back to me. That's another spiritual matrix thing. People stop it there. People go, oh no, they think they're dumb, but then they never look at their own shit, right? You do that first, then you go look at your own shit and you go, oh, but I'm triggered, obviously, so it's still my own problem. She made me feel inadequate. Where am I being that way toward myself, right? That's where reflections come in. And if reflections are another part of emotional mastery. And we will dive deeper into that in the Unbothered workshop and in the bigger course too. But then I'm going, okay, where am I being that way toward myself? Well, I start to go, okay, what's the opposite of maybe it's in career, I'm not giving myself enough praise, right? Or credit. That's probably true. So let's go to career. So now we're in career. And now all we have to do is go, what's the opposite of inadequate? Well, it's adequate, but let's go even better than that. It's I am the best of the fucking best at what I do. Now I have an ingredient. I'm the best of the best at what I do. Now I'm going to just prove that ingredient to myself with the actual examples of how I can get behind that emotion. Well, now I'm filling in that creator field hole of feeling inadequate. I fill in the creator field hole of feeling inadequate. Well, now I want to post again. And then I want to post again. And then the comments stop coming in. Or if they do, doesn't bother me, right? Or if they do bother me, I know it's about me. So then I keep posting because it has nothing to do with anyone else. And now in this scenario, this person, let's call her Shelly. Shelly is now down the road 3 years later, built $1 million business because Shelly's emotions did not stop her. And now Shelly will also not get breast cancer because Shelly feels like she can express herself. And because she feels like she can express herself, she will not be angry 20 years later that she never got to express herself in the way she wanted to out of the fear of being called dumb. See how that works? So this applies to, love that for Shelly too. Oh my God, wait. Great fucking name. I didn't even know there was a Shelly in here. That's great. Love that for you. Amazing. So another way this can disconnect from knowing your emotions and knowing what they're actually telling you. The problem is that most people think their emotions are telling them one thing when it's telling them a completely different other thing. Here's an example. Okay. So there's in relationship, right? True story. This is my relationship. I try to go around it, but I'm like, I just try not to out other people. Like I will out myself forever. But if someone else is involved, I would try to like, tiptoe. But I've told this story before, so it's fine. And this is years ago. So years ago, like a year and a half into my relationship, a lot of, when you're with a soul complement, well, hello to all the trauma you never healed coming up. It will come up. So everything will be right in your face. So it will be highly triggering. And without emotional mastery tools, your soul complement will blow up in your face and then you will settle for like a soulmate type situation. Now, soulmate type situation, still great, but soul complement is 1,000 times fucking better with the right tools. Without the right tools, you're going to hate it. It will blow up in your face. It will be trigger city. But with the right emotion mastery tools, you will be able to get the most fulfilling relationship. So I thought my self-image was healed. Then I got in a relationship with Justin. And my higher self said, bitch, your self-image is not healed. Thank God. Thank God for him. Where at times where I literally was like, I want to put this man on fucking, I want to blast him on social media. I just want to be like, don't ever trust him. But all it was me. Like he was just, I was creating him to be a certain way toward me, right? And the second I started to shift certain things, that I talked a lot about this at the Glow retreat. If you were there, it's feeling whole, a whole different topic for a whole different self-image day. But when I started to heal my own self-image, he put all my self-image wounds in my face and I started to heal them. And now I can look at my self-image. And the other day I checked in on it, you guys, and it's really cool because my level of not feeling enough is literally at like 1%. And it used to be at 98%. And so the past few years of him putting that in my face so fucking painfully, like level 10 emotional triggers, 10 out of 10, like 10 being the highest, level 10 emotional triggers of being in my face about my self-image. I knew the whole time this is so good because I will become a master of self fucking image and I will teach every fucking person who wants to listen about it because I am so passionate about it. And it's like the most special thing to me when I want that so bad for everyone in here and everyone who cares about it, because when you are a master over your emotions, you can be a master over your self-image, you can be a master over your fucking life. And you never have to feel the way I felt for so long as I did. And I don't want that for anybody. So he was the beautiful mirror to show me where my self image gaps and holes were so that I could fill them. I mean, we've talked about some of them in the podcast, right? The feeling whole episode and all of that, right? But there were level 10 reflections of my self-image being in the fucking toilet. And I each one I just knew. So, but what I could have done is I could have broken up with him, said, "This guy sucks. He's toxic. I'm going to go get someone better." And then, think I'm going to someone better. They're going to reflect the same thing. The next person's going to reflect the same thing. And I'm not ever going to, a version of me could have not ever got the fucking point. And then what happens? Well, then my career doesn't do as good because if I have a low self image, who the fuck is going to buy my courses if I don't think I'm fucking good or want to be around me? Who the fuck else will want to pay me or be around me, right? I'm going to get so fucking pissed eventually that no, I can't express myself. It could turn into a thyroid problem or breast cancer again, right? I'm going to get so fucking pissed that that no one's treating me the way that I deep down can feel a soul pull that I deserve to be treated, and I can manifest fucking cancer down the road. Who the fuck knows what could have happened, right? So every area of life gets affected at some point when we're not listening to what our emotions coming up are trying to tell us. But the more I filled in those holes, the more I started to gain an insanely high self image, where not only was like my most famous course born, Glow Formula, right? That will be the thing that I do forever, Glow Formula. And not only was that born and will continue to grow and be reborn again and again, but also the amount of money I've been able to create for myself because of it. And all of these things shifted so fucking much because of Justin reflecting really, really painful emotional things in my face. People want to run away from the pain. We've got to want to fucking make out with the pain and stick our tongue down pain's throat and like fuck the pain. You know what I mean? Like we've got to like be obsessed with the pain of going, oh my God, okay, this is great because this is helping me get to my highest potential. Okay. So those are something I wanted to really paint a picture for you of why this is so important. Now, you know how we're talking about emotions clouding your intuition, right? So in order for our intuition to do remarkable things, we've got to really lower that like loud, heavy metal music that's in our brain. Okay. Like all these things, like, are they going to think this? What do they think about this? Like, I'm emotional here about this. I'm pissed at you for this. Most of us are walking around about 55% triggered every day, not even knowing it. It's why the traffic pissed me off today. I wasn't mad about the traffic. If I was at 7% emotional today, I would not have been mad about the traffic. I wasn't mad about the traffic. I was mad about me not putting myself first deep down. The traffic so lovingly showed me that I wasn't putting myself first for the last like 14 days now. Okay. So I'm mad at not putting myself first. I'm not mad at the traffic. So there's always a mad underneath your matter. There's always an emotion underneath your emotion. We're not mad at what's going on. We're upset about the thing that happened when we were 4 that is still going on now that this thing is just popping up to show us, right? So what we want to be able to do is when we can drop the heavy metal music that's in our head, when you're like hearing like 1,000, you can't hear like a pin drop, right? Like if there's heavy metal music on, you cannot find little pin drops or things that are going on. So when you're so triggered, you can't find the root cause of the trigger. You know what I mean? Like the pin drops the trigger, the heavy metal music is being so triggered. You can't find the root cause of it, right? So it becomes like kind of this double-edged sword for a long time of like, well, if I'm really triggered, I can't figure out the trigger because I can't get neutral. So we need tools that in the moment when we're triggered, we can bring the trigger down so that we have the brain power, the intuition power to find the root cause of the trigger, right? What I used to do in earlier times of practicing this was I would let myself be angry for a longer period of time and then like at night go find what I was mad about. But I found that you can do it way faster than that. And I want you guys to do it way faster than I ever did. So I found that there are tools, and we'll go into those in Unbothered, but that you can literally get your emotions down literally in 60 seconds, which is really cool to then be able to find the root cause of the trigger. So even when there's situations where, sorry, even when there's situations where people are, let's say someone's emotionally dumping onto you, who here has had that happen? People are just like, word vomiting onto you. Everyone's like, me. Um, so when there's situations where people are emotionally dumping onto you and you're getting so fucking pissed, there's tools that we'll dive into in Unbothered of like how to neutralize that in membership today. If you guys have specific situations, we can dive into specific tools for you when we go to the question time. But there's tools where someone can be dumping on you and you can start to literally love them so much in the middle of it. Like it's so fun. I've used this so much to the point where like my dad, fucking love the guy, and I might start crying because I cry every time I talk about him now because of how much I love him. But this man is the man who grew up, cheating on my mom, had a gambling addiction. I mean, crazy, crazy things. But when you look at it on a soul level, oh my God, his soul is such a high frequency soul. It literally sacrificed its life. It could have had a thriving life. It sacrificed its life in this lifetime to be that role for me, to get me to where I'm at now. Because if those things didn't happen for me, I wouldn't have healed my self-image. I wouldn't have healed feeling inadequate. I wouldn't have done all this work. I wouldn't have even tapped into my intuition at a young age because I tapped into my intuition unknowingly to like kind of keep myself safe in certain situations, right? So it's so beautiful what his soul has done for me. Now, I would not have been able to see that beauty if I never healed the actual anger from him, right? So I go on this whole journey of like healing anger from just him and my life for like a solid 5 years. And after that, I started to like look at him in a whole different light. And I fucking love the guy. He also, by the way, he does not project anything onto me anymore. Like I watch him take it out on people around him, but it's no longer me because my creator field is no longer a match to it. And which is also really cool. And I fucking vibe with that guy. Like I truly love that man so much and have a really cool relationship with him now that I would have never been able to have or even heal that stuff or have with a future husband if I would not have gone in and looked at the emotions that came up and dealt with all of that. So I'm weaving, circling back. When someone like that is emotionally dumping onto you, right? If you have those situations, you can get to the point where you just see them through love. It is really, really cool. And not like the spiritual bypassing kind of like see them through love. It's no, like a neutral, like just really seeing the perfection and the balance in it all. And it's a really, really cool feeling. It's a feeling that's embodied. It's not a feeling. It's not just a thing that you like logically are trying to do because you're trying to be spiritual. You know what I mean? Very two different things. So, okay, I have a lot of bullet points I want to make. Okay, let me come back. So, when things like emotional dumping happen, I know everyone in here feels this because you guys are all insanely intuitive and highly, highly advanced, but who feels this? Even if someone's not emotional dumping, you can feel their creator feels kind of emotional dumping or their thoughts. You're like at dinner. Here's what happens to me at dinner or what used to happen. I'm at dinner socially with friends. Well, okay, these are made up names. Okay, well, Betty's over here and Betty doesn't feel like she's being heard right now. So Cindy over here is talking a little too much and making Betty feel unheard. But Betty's tired of Cindy, of Cindy always talking. Well, Shirley over here is feeling upset because of her boyfriend being mean to her and she just wants someone to be nice to her. But now Shirley's kind of mad about Betty feeling upset because Shirley's tired of Betty feeling like a victim. And then you literally know everyone's fucking thoughts around you. And then being social is so hard. Like I used to hate being social. I mean, up until recently, like I got a grip on this probably recently. You can do it way faster than I did. But where being social was the bane of my existence because I could hear people's thoughts. I could hear their creator fields. I could hear their emotions. I could hear their higher self. I could hear any problem they had, I fucking heard it. And then I felt like I had to, be the mediator. I had to be like, oh, okay, Cindy, love that story. Betty, what were you saying? Oh, isn't Betty, doesn't Betty look fucking hot today, you guys? And like draw the attention to Betty because you could feel Betty was mad. She didn't have attention. And it was a full thing and very tiring. I'm sure everyone in here is like, yes, I'm sure you know what that feels like. So that is a byproduct of being really intuitive without an emotional mastery. Okay. And that will, if none of this other stuff has fucked you up yet, that will fuck you up emotionally more than more than anything, right? So being social, then you can't even be fucking social because you're not having fun because you're just caring about, you're worried about if this person's having fun and if she likes her and if they're getting along and like, oh, I know she's gonna trigger her because I'm intuitive and I know this thing about her will trigger this wound about her and vice versa. And so I gotta manage. I gotta be in, are they getting enough attention? Do they feel like I'm giving them enough attention? Does Betty feel like I'm giving her enough attention that I'm giving Cindy? Like, I got to make sure. And because you're hearing everyone, right? How great would it be to just not hear people's thoughts and to just like show up at dinner the way you want to fucking show up at dinner? It would be great. Even that will get you too. And I had this less, but I see it happen with my clients. That will get you in career too. Like people will not do live things because they're too afraid. Oh my God, like are, is Marissa enjoying this? Like, does Sydney like what I'm saying right now? Right? Like, is Mariah okay? Was she mad at me? Right? Like, none of you guys are thinking that. That's just an example, by the way. um, but people will start to get in their heads about it, right? That's happened to me less in career, I will say, but drastically socially. It was brutal. So anyway, so between the emotional dumping, whether it's people actually doing it or their thoughts doing it to you, right? With being able to feel people's creator fields and their emotional fields and their thought fields. I was hearing thousands of fucking things happen all at once. And this is why you can't get a grip on your own emotions or what you're actually feeling yourself, because now your emotions are heightened because of other people's stuff too. And then you're worried about them. And then creates this whole fucking thing. And again, it doesn't just end. It doesn't just end after the dinner. That same feeling follows you if we are not shifting it, if we're not understanding the root of it for a very long time, for weeks to come. And it's fucking up the rest of your activities and excursions and things you want to be doing, career, finances, relationships, health for weeks to come. Okay. So when you have intuition, you have these gifts, it's this heightened awareness that can get overwhelming. Even people who have gone to substance abuse, it's only because they have these gifts and they're so overwhelmed by them and they don't have the emotional stuff to be able to control themselves that they go to the substance abuse to try and dim their emotions down. So it's all a lot. And so what people will do, me living in LA, that's funny. Oh, that's great. We call her Cocaine Sydney. I love the name for the other version of yourself. It's fucking iconic. um, so what really advanced souls like yourselves, not saying that you guys do it because you guys are a lot more advanced in here than a lot of people in the world. What a lot of people tend to do is they're really advanced intuitively. They have a really high emotional IQ, but they're so overwhelmed by their own emotions and everyone else's. They go, that's it. I'm getting out of the matrix. I'm done here. I'm moving to the woods. I'm moving to the jungle. I'm getting the fuck out of here. Get me out of America. Get me out of the city, right? Get me out of Europe or whatever it is. I'm going to the jungle. I'm going to the woods. I'm going to be in a hut by myself and live off the land, right? What happens with that is that's not what your soul actually probably wants to do. Right? Maybe, I won't make a blanket statement, but most of the time, if I look in, 98% of the people who have gone to do that, that's not what their soul actually wants to do. That is them. That is their version of a drug to suppress and quiet down the emotions that they don't know how to control or look into or shift. And so what happens with that is these people take themselves, literally they take themselves and move themselves right off their path and right off their soul pole and put themselves into the jungle where they don't talk to anybody, where they don't go online, and they think they're living the spiritual life. Again, that's another spiritual matrix, dark force infiltrated thing in the spiritual world. That is not the spiritual life. if you are, the goal is of why we're all back is because we're trying to become more and more like source so we can eventually go back to source, right? So the goal, if you want to become more like source, it is being able to be in the middle of New York City with a fucking fire over here, a fucking bomb going off over here, a fucking traffic thing over here, and you being cool and you having the tools to emotionally neutralize yourself. And if you do get emotional, knowing, oh, okay, what this showing me? Oh, I don't feel safe in my own body. Okay, let me shift that real quick. Okay, great. And it's having the tools to even, before you even go find the root cause, to calm yourself emotionally down so you're able to go fucking find the root cause, right? There's a few parts of gaining the emotional tools that we'll get into in Unbothered. But that is the source idea of emotional mastery. It's not, fuck the matrix, I'm getting the fuck out of here. Take me to the jungle. I'm going to sit here and I'm going to just do yoga and meditate and breath work all day, right? Nothing wrong with those things. However, those things are not getting to the root cause. They are putting a temporary band-aid. They're calming you down for the minute until you have to go get triggered again. If you have to meditate more than 10 minutes a day to be okay, or if you have to go somewhere and isolate yourself for a very long time to be okay, very telling sign that there's a big lack of being able to master and understand your emotions. Okay. So now what happens is it's funny, is these people, the comments, just for anyone who's listening, the membership are just, they're worth the membership in itself. Like it's like a comedy show in the comments in here. If you want a good laugh, just read the comments. Um, oh my God, train of thought. Sorry. Here we go. Going back. Okay. So if you were to take the path of I'm overwhelmed emotionally by other people's because you're so empathetic, you're so intuitive, you feel other people's, you feel your own, you don't know how to control them. I'm going to go to the jungle or the woods or the cabin and just meditate all day long and not be around people or not put myself out there or anything. Well, how are you fucking yourself? You're fucking yourself out of a really fulfilling relationship. You're fucking yourself out of your soul pull career. That can be really, really fulfilling. Help. You're fucking other people out of getting helped by you. You're fucking yourself out of the incredible money you can make in return for the lives you'll change. You're fucking yourself out of probably better health because if you avoid your soul pull long enough, you'll get health problems, right? And my favorite story to tell, it was round two of Unfuck Yourself Academy. It's when I did live Q&As in there every other week as the students, as the queens were going through. And I love this one queen who was in there. She would always give me the best questions. She would always ask the best questions every week and make me laugh. And the one week she goes, Allie, I don't know what to do. I cut everyone out of my life. I stopped texting my parents back. I don't talk to anybody and I locked myself in my apartment. And now there's bugs in my apartment. She's like, I was so annoyed by everyone. I locked myself in my apartment and now there's gnats everywhere and I can't get rid of them. And I was like, well, that's why. I said, you tried to run away from your annoyances. Sam remembers that. Sam, yes, you remember that. Sam was in there too. Best, I use this story all the time. And she, and I go, well, that's exactly why there's gnats all over your apartment. You can't get rid of them. You tried to outrun the annoyance versus seeing why you're annoyed, shifting it and making it the best thing ever why you got annoyed and using it to your benefit and to get what you want. Instead, you said, fuck all y'all, lock myself in my house. Well, that will follow you. You cannot run your creator field. So your creator field will continue creating no matter where you go. You can't run it. You want to go into the next life? You're going to get it there too. The soul lesson will follow you there as well. Anytime, this is not me making light of a very serious situation, but good and bad to everything. Anytime I work with somebody who is like, Allie, fuck this life. I'm just going to take myself out, come back. Anytime I deal with something like that, I go, and hear me out. I go, okay, well, if you do that, you're just going to get the same lesson, but times 10, because that happens. If you take yourself out, you'll get the same lesson the next life times 10, but so it's even worse. And at least in this life, I'm like, at least you're already most of the way through it. All you need is a few more tools and you'll be over. Do you really want to go relive the whole fucking thing again times 10? And all of a sudden talks them off the ledge right away, right? And because I don't get emotional with them either. I don't get, if I law of opposing forces, then they'll want to do it even more, right? If I start going, oh my God, don't do that. Seriously, you're worth so much more. all that's true. But if I start to do that, they're going to have to love opposing forces me and want to do the opposite, right? So I just go, okay, well, if you do that, just know this will, and then they're like, oh, fuck, I don't want to do that. I'm like, okay, great. Let's get you some tools to thrive. And then they're like, solid. We clear them of some dark forces. They no longer have depression and we're good to go. Right. So it's quite more simple, but people hang on to an emotion, make it mean everything, make it mean their whole identity, dive on a deep dive with it. And then they want to move to the jungle or they want to move to the cabin in the woods because they hate people and they're tired of everybody. Well, it's not, probably 98% not in your soul pull potentially not in your soul pull. If you're listening to this, it's definitely not in your soul pull to be doing that or outrunning it. So back to the story about the girl who had all the bugs in her apartment. I was like, you tried to outrun your annoyance. Your creator field followed you because you can't outrun it even in the next life. Your creator field followed you into your house as it does. It follows you everywhere you go, and it created annoyances in your own home. And you will keep creating that until you figure out, you get yourself emotionally neutral. The formula is you get yourself emotionally neutral. Then you figure out, with certain tools we'll go over and unbothered, then you figure out the root cause. Then you just naturally are happy about it because you figured out the root cause. And then you move on and you shift it. Okay. So that's kind of, you know, what happens. Your creator field will quite literally always follow you around. So my goal for you guys is to be able to keep your emotions a 17% or under all the fucking time. I mean, ideally, when you get really good, like a 5% or under at all times, because the second you're over a 17%, your intuition has been infiltrated and you're going to start to now make less great decisions and start to act upon certain emotions. It's the silent killer of joy and what you want in life and your own body if you hold on to them for too long, honestly, right? So it's not to scare you. I never say anything they don't have a solution for, okay? So it's the silent killer of anything you want to create in life because we don't even know that we're triggered half the time. Most of the time, we don't know. And so people think, "Oh, I'm not angry." Like one of my trained intuitives who was at the retreat with me helping, she was like a part-time trained intuitive, not full-time. And she was like, I'm not angry. Like we weren't talking about her being angry about anything, but we were going around just talking about something random. She goes, yeah, I don't really feel like angry. And I go, I would intuitively check how angry you are. She goes, shit, I'm 79% angry. I go, yeah. Even a highly trained intuitive didn't think she was angry until she intuitively looked in and go, oh my God, I'm 79% fucking angry. Fuck. And then she could go in and neutralize it, right? So we don't really understand or know how emotional we are. It's not your man flirting with somebody else that made you go on a fucking spiral. It was something that happened when you were 4 that he was then bringing back up in you so that you could see that you still have it, so that you could shift it, so that you could then finally get what you've been trying to create and manifest in life. Triggers come up when we're asking for bigger things. Triggers come up when we're asking to level up. They're great, right? Emotions are here to help us, right? This is how we use all emotions to help us. There's not good or bad emotions. There's emotions that we use to manifest, and there's emotions that we use to show us how we can shift to continue manifesting what we would like to do. Cool. So it's not about suppressing them, not feeling them, they're bad, none of that, right? It's about using them like how we've talked about how to use them. So I feel like I'm going so over in this podcast, but it just feels fun. So we have one more little thing to make, and then we'll wrap this one up. I just want you to think about for a second. Now, first of all, we're start scratching the surface here, like what I've studied in this, what I've embodied, what I've done with this. We are scratching the surface, and this is like the prereq to another prereq foundational thing to another more advanced thing. But just this is a lot for you to take home and sit with. And I have a little tool for everyone to go and take away and start practicing. But before we get into that, there's a lot of components, like hundreds and hundreds of components, sorry, to understand in neuroscience and around all of these things. But even just by implementing this little thing I'm going to give you, it's already going to start to change so much for you. And you're going to do it way fucking faster than I ever did. Thank God. Because I do not want for you what I had to do. So doing this has put the joy just back in every area of my life. When I do get triggered, immediately I'm like, this is so fucking good. This is showing me something because I'm ready to up level. I'm asking for really big things in my life, in health, in staying youthful, in career, in money, in relationships, in family. Like I'm asking for really big things in a really, really cool life. Those old emotions cannot come with, they're not going to help me create that. So they've got to be exposed. So cue the trigger. We can go one way with the trigger. We can be the person who says, oh, like, I'm a victim. I don't want to deal with this. I'm going to just go on to the next thing and have some external thing, put a temporary band-aid on it, and then keep reliving that trigger over and over and over and over and over again. Or we can be the person who's elite and who's like, oh my God, I'm pissed off right now, but I know this is going to help me. Let me get my tools to neutralize my emotions so I can get clear intuitively, so I can find the reflection, so I can clear the reflection, so I can up level, so I can go create that next level of money, so I can go create that next level of health, the next level of career, the next level of relationship that I deep down know is possible, but I haven't known how to do it until now. So I want you to just think for yourself, like if you're a competitive person too, like I am, I'm a little competitive. Um, just on a soul level, it's just how I've been built to be. If you're a competitive person, and I'm competitive with like myself, like what's the best that I can fucking do? You know, like what's the highest potential that I can reach at? Can I be better tomorrow than I was today? Right. Um, if you've noticed, a part of my competitiveness is I realized I wasn't telling enough stories and like my stories weren't specific. So if you haven't noticed, I've been telling very specific stories lately. And every day I'm like, you guys are like, yeah, I've noticed. Every day I'm like, how can I tell a better story than yesterday? How can I get even more specific? So that's my competitive thing right now. Anyway, your competitive thing can be how can I master my emotions a little bit more today? How can I move the needle a little bit? It's not about making this big, massive life change tomorrow, just a little tiny bit. How can I be better than I was yesterday? So if you're a competitive person like me, I want you to just think for a second, like, what would it have done for your career, for your relationships, for your finances? Like, where would you be if you knew these tools sooner? And I'm not trying to make you regret anything or anything like that, because all those things and how they happened were how they were supposed to happen. Nothing was supposed to be different. It all got you to here. But I want you to think of it more in the sense of like, how could I use this in the future? Like, how can I hack the system now? Now that I know this, now that my higher self pulled me here, if I heard this today, well, that means my higher self is saying, hey, now you need to use this. And now if I don't use these tools, I might be a little off path because my higher self pulled me here today to learn this to get on a faster path, right? Now, in the past, you only know what you know, and all of that was supposed to happen how it did to get you where you are now. Not do not have like regrets or anything like that. I'm more talking about using this for future scenarios, right? It's one of the most important parts about how we work. It's our emotions are our greatest asset, and it's time that we realize that emotional mastery is the most important fucking thing we can do. Okay, it's going to help us hack self-image even faster. If we're not getting all fucking bent out of shape about our self-image all the time and feeling inadequate or feeling not valuable and having to like write someone a 20-page fucking paragraph text to explain to your boyfriend who's ignoring you how powerful or how valuable you are and how he shouldn't ignore you, right? That's not helping your self-image at all. Physically, internally, it's not. So if we can learn, it's not helping your intuition because your intuition's fucked if your emotions are over 17%, not as good as it could be. It's going to change everything for you. So I'm really excited. Now, if you're feeling, because this is what can happen sometimes, if you're feeling like, well, I already know this stuff, right? Knowing is great, but are you embodying it? Do you live it every day? Do you in every area of life, right? You can live, for me, I'll be doing something in about 4 or 5 areas of life, and then the 3 areas of life where I'm not doing it will pop up and I'll go do it there, right? So are you doing it in every area of life? Are you living it every day 24/7? If you're not, I wouldn't jip yourself out of really diving in on this, right? Like, are you, we can know something, but are you embodying it? That's another spiritual matrix thing. It's like, oh, I know that. Okay, but are you embodying it 24/7, everywhere, all the time? If you're not, it's the only thing you're hurting is yourself, and you're just doing yourself a disservice. So, I have a tool for you, okay? My tool is moment to moment, like throughout the next week, all the time, but focus on this the next week. Go, I wonder what my core emotion is right now. I wonder what my core emotion is right now. What's driving me right now in this moment? And try and label that emotion. That's just what I want you to start with. We can't even shift our emotions or know what they're telling us until we actually just know what the fuck emotion it is we're having, right? So just start to check in. I love it. Yeah, everyone type in your emotion right now. I'd love to hear it. Everyone just start to check in with yourself. And good, I love it. And then even those emotions, what's maybe underneath that? Are you angry or are you feeling inadequate and you're angry because you feel inadequate, right? Good. So start to like just do that. Nothing else. Just start to check in on that with yourself a few times a day. If you can get this down, if you can do this 60 times within the next week, you've now made this a thing that you just do. And you'll train your brain to just make it non-declarative, which means it's just how you are. That's just what you're going to do all the time. So start there. And that tool's for everyone, by the way, on the podcast and everyone in here. And okay, we're about to get into a Q&A with the membership queens and get them some tools and some mini intuitive readings. But before that, we do have Unbothered Workshop. Actually, it's not open. It's closed. We had Unbothered Workshop open, but it closed within 72 hours of it being open because we capped it at 200 people. However, I did make a poll on my story yesterday. I'm recording this live on a Thursday, the 24th of April. We made a poll on my story yesterday on the 23rd, asking people if they wanted, we should reopen it for them. And the poll is leaning 75% and higher to reopen. So we're going to think about it. Stay tuned. By the time this podcast comes out, you'll know if it's reopened or not. If it is reopened, you will see the link for Unbothered in the show notes. So there's that. And I'm really excited. We will dive into so much more in there. This is just the foundation. And then next week on the podcast, we're going to get into how to communicate from an emotionally neutral place and basically how to tie someone into a mental pretzel if you need to with communication if they're coming at you, so but without being mean or saying anything rude, which is really really fun. So from a very neutral source aligned place. Someone goes mwahaha. So that is what we'll be diving into next week, and all things will be getting more tools on and a lot on in the Unbothered workshop too. Okay, I will see you guys in the next episode, and now we will get into a Q&A with the membership queens.